Dr. Boro and I began our practices here in Fresno at just about the same time. And in fact, he was one of the first physicians I got to know when I came to Fresno in 1983.
Dr. Boro was the Chief of Infectious Disease and the Assistant Physician-in-Chief for Quality when I joined the Permanente Medical Group in 1999.
I met Dr. Boro when I was looking for a job after my infectious disease fellowship. He was such a warm, knowledgeable person to have as a mentor. I decided, wow, I could grow to love Fresno, and it was definitely a place where I would be able to thrive.
In the early 1980s, when we were beginning to recognize cases of AIDS and HIV here in Fresno, Herb was the single source of information and the go-to guy for every one of these cases.
He actually did take on ownership of the most difficult of patients in the hospital. I was asked to participate in the treatment of one such patient, and ever since then it was a learning experience all the way through over the years, and he is actually one of my mentors at Kaiser Permanente.
Dr. Boro was very patient-centered. He treated everybody with respect.
His patients loved him because he listened so intently and remembered every detail of their story. And he was masterful at picking up small details that the rest of us might have overlooked.
I have sometimes just stood by and watched Dr. Boro speak to the families, speak with the patients, and I've certainly learned a lot.
His patients viewed him as their everyday hero.
I was a patient for about 6 months in 2005 myself. The care that he provided me with, I think I'm just going to be ever grateful to him for my life. Always available without any excuses ever that I can ever remember as a patient or as a physician colleague.
He had something very special that is often difficult to find in people in senior leadership positions. He brought a certain sense of humanity to his difficult job.
He was the most meticulous, precise diagnostician, I think, that I ever met.
If he saw something that needed to be fixed, he would stop and make sure it got fixed. I can remember walking with him from one meeting to another. He went in to go to the bathroom, came out, oh, that sink, the water pressure is too high, and he called and got it taken care of right away. He, not only structural things in the building, but if there were problems with patients or issues that arose, he was a strong advocate for doing the right thing.
Herb would always walk around with lots of journals and papers in his hands, sort of tucked under his coat or under his arm. And once we were walking out to the parking lot, and he dropped them, and out from the middle of them was a People magazine, and he got very red in the face, and I remember just thinking to myself, okay, he is human.
He had a remarkably dry sense of humor, and he had this kind of wry little grin. He very seldom laughed out loud, but you knew that he was smiling on the inside.
Even after he retired, he felt he still needed to give back, and he worked for the California Medical Board, making sure that physicians were practicing good medicine.
He was a physician's physician, and he raised the bar for everyone who came in contact with him.
Dr. Boro was very humble, and I think he would say he didn't deserve this award.
He would be much more likely to put somebody else forward to get the accolades.
He would have been very touched, and that he would have said he didn't deserve it.
For his family, I'm sure this is somewhat bittersweet. They would much rather have Herb here than have him get this award. Know that he was valued by this community for his service over the decades, that he helped improve the health of our our patients, including some of the sickest patients, and patients that other physicians may not have wanted to see, like the HIV patients. And I will truly miss him.
In the early days of my practice experience in Fresno, the treatment availability at that time for valley fever meningitis was quite limited to the administration of amphotericin B by needle injection at the base of the skull, at the back of the neck. And so I knew Dr. Lipke had walked through the fire of learning how to do that. And he said, I'll teach you how to do that. And so with my first patient that needed such treatment, he gave me a tutorial at the nursing station. And then he took me to the bedside, or I took him to the bedside of the patient, introduced him to the patient. He had me watch his first one that he did. And then he had me put my thumb on the top of the needle and push my finger into the patient's neck so I could understand the pressure required. The third one, he watched me do. The fourth one, he waited at the nursing station while I did it alone. He didn't have to do that. Out of the goodness of his heart, he mentored me along to accomplish that.